Christmas and a JJ drag. Every solid movie, $99. 32-inch LCD TV, $299. LG 42-inch HD, $499. Everything to filter and Christmas and a JJ drag. Every solid movie, $99. 32-inch LCD TV, $299. LG 42-inch HD, $499. Everything to filter and Christmas and a JJ drag. Every solid movie, $99.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Fucking fart and piss. Oh, did you ever piss so much piss that you ran out of piss? Did you know I made a game? This is my game. It's called The Game. Well, it's not called The Game. Some of you might know. Some of you might not know. Some of you might not know. Some of you might know not what you not know, but do know that I know that you know that you do not know what you don't know is not what you know, but it's actually not what you not know. It's no, you know what you know. You know? This is Ox. I call it Ox because it's based on noughts and crosses, or X's and O's, or tic-tac-toe, or pick my nose, or pluck my toes, or fuck them hoes. Get money. Dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Pew! I call it Ox because I'm uninventive and I couldn't think of anything else to call it. But I made this well over 10 years ago now. Look how many cards I made. Ooh. See, because me and my, I guess what now is my sister's ex-husband now, at the time husband, they'd come over, hang out with family, and then he and I and my brother would play, board games, cool board games, like fantasy board games and combat card games and, fucking games, a whole bunch of shit. And then one of these times, I'm getting hot, I'm going to have to take my sweater off. Well, the caffeine's giving me a blood rush and it's making me warm. Oh, that one hurt my teeth. And then one night I made my own game. I made all of this in one night. I cut up a bunch of cereal boxes and like oven cooked pizza boxes and just whatever boxes I could pull out of the trash. Because, I live in garbage. And I drew all of these. I drew most of them in ballpoint pen. For a lot of these I consider to be the troops cards. I just cut a stencil and then sprayed a bunch of X's and also a bunch of O's. Or a bunch of noughts and a bunch of crosses. Noughts and crosses is what we call it over here in the United Kingdom of England and surrounding parts thereof. I think X's and O's is the American name because they don't know how to spell the word nought, I believe is the reason for that. And tic-tac-toe is the same thing, but a general, I don't know. Anyway, this is Ox. It's based on, the whole point is, I wanted a game where you have a big stack of cards like this, and then you draw a card and then you play a card and you draw a card and you play it. You have a few cards in your hand that you can also use, but you draw a card and both players draw from a big pile of cards and then you play a card, and it's fantasy and sci-fi at the same time. So these are your troops cards, and you've also got mechs, and there's a giant monster, there's loads and loads of troop cards. You've got nuke-proof suits to protect you from other cards. There's soldiers made of jewels. You can strike gold, black gold. More so, there's worms, slug beasts, demolition teams, wizards, double agents, reinforcements. There's all sorts of shit. This is a whole game, and it's all based on the premise of noughts and crosses, which is, at its heart, a very basic combat game, a game of war, of taking over territories. And that's these cards here are the territory cards. Let me just quick. As it's invented, there isn't a board as such, but you've got to have enough space to lay out a bunch of these cards. So you play in either an imaginary, or you can make yourself a large 3x3 9 square grid, which is the typical noughts and crosses board. Yeah, you get it. And then each of these squares are their own individual noughts and crosses boards. So you take these, you draw them at random, shuffle them, whatever, and then you take a territory card and you place them in the middle. So in the middle of each of these boards are territory cards. And then each of these is obviously its own 3x3 tic-tac-toe playing board. So the objective then is to win these territories by winning a game of noughts and crosses in each territory. But obviously, the whole thing is one large noughts and crosses. You've got to win 3 in a row here, 3 in a row here, 3 in a row here, or whichever way. But with your opponent trying to do the same and stopping you and blocking you all the while. And so there's this one's the Desert of Betrayal, and that's got a -3. They're not brilliantly drawn. Again, these were all drawn in the space of a couple of hours. Just quickly, over 10 years ago, maybe 12 or so years ago. A village, the carcass of an enormous creature, a giant dead corpse, a wasteland, a mine, a city, a barracks, a forest, a refinery, an underground cave, a quarry, a floating island. That's cool, like a floating rock with an undersea facility, like in the Mario games, the underwater levels, a swamp, a robot city, a watchtower. I could come up with loads of those. I think ideally, if I was going to make the game like big and professionally, these territory cards would be this big, because that would be quite cool, because then you'd have separate things to play in, and yeah, you pick them at random, play them down, and so each one has a number, and that number is victory points. See, because if you win 3 in a row 3 times in a row, then you win the game. But if it's a tie, which often happens with noughts and crosses, then it goes down to victory points. So each territory has a number of... See, the robot city is worth 5 victory points because it's a fucking robot city. If you take over the robot city, that's worthwhile in the war effort. You know, that's a lot of fucking you know, shit. The swamp's worth 1 because it's a fucking swamp. The undersea facility's worth 2. That's pretty valuable. Floating island's worth 3. And where there was the Desert of Betrayal is worth -3 because, you know, it's a desert full of, I don't know, holes and spines and shit, whatever. So if you take that one over, you lose victory points. But then there are cards, each of the... So you've got your basic troop cards. So there's loads of these that you play. One person is X's, one person's O's. Again, if I was going to make it proper, professionally printed, it would all have artwork on all of these cards of different kinds of troops doing cool shit, looking badass. But then you've got other ones like soldiers made of jewels. Play as a regular troops card, as you would play a normal X or an O. You play an O here, you play a troop card there. And then the person plays an X here, and then you come in with your soldiers made of jewels. You play it as a regular troops card, you play it here or wherever, and because they're made of jewels, like crystalline shards of glass and rubies and gems and fucking emeralds and shit, but they're soldiers. So he's you know, not brilliantly drawn. This is his helmet, he's smoking a cigarette, shoulder pads and shit, but it gives +3 victory points to the map. So whoever wins this map gets +3 victory points if this card has been played there, because it's jewels, it's worth money. You get wizard cards, play as regular troops normally, but then one adjacent XO card is transformed into a slug beast. So because it's a wizard, it transforms this card next to it, if it's played here, into a slug beast, which plays as a regular troop card, but any other card can be played on top of that. So you can play it here thinking, or if you played it here, for instance, if this was now a slug beast, any X troop card could then be played on top of that, negating that card. Yeah. So But then once a territory has been won, so if you do get 3 in a row, this has been won, and no other cards, no other troop cards can be played in there. So you have to leave that one alone. However, there are cards like, if I can find one, for giant monster cards, which doesn't play for either player necessarily, but any player who picks it up can play it. Plays in the centre of the last map to have been played in. I missed out the word been. Move this 1 space to the left each turn until it's out of the area. It destroys any card it touches. So, even if this territory has already been won, or even if it hasn't, you can play this card in the centre of it. A giant monster, a giant crab monster towering over the city, destroying everything in its wake. And then every turn, it moves 1 space to the left. So you have 1 turn, people play their cards normally. The giant monster moves to this space, and then to this space, and then to this space, and this space, until it's off of the board completely. And every card it touches gets destroyed and is now a vacant space. So, if this has already been won, this is now open, and you can be playing in it again to retake the territory. So the whole game can be fucking flipped on its head and fucked in the ass and lifted up and torn apart and stitched back together and fucked in the ass again. It's a game of tactics and treachery and tenacious trials of tyranny and too many tits. Actually, not enough tits. There's very, very few tits. And so there's soldiers made of jewels. There's wizards. There's worms. See, because I wanted to have like, you play a card that's a giant worm with a Y, like the Dune sandworm or a D&D purple worm. Play as regular troops, but one adjacent opposing XO card gets eaten. So kind of like what the wizard does, where it changes an opposing card into a slug beast. The worm pops out the ground and eats a card next to it, which destroys it, which leaves the space vacant for whatever. And then, because I thought it'd be funny to have that worm, I also made a card that's just a regular earthworm, which is exactly the same as a slug beast, where any card can be played on top of it. But if you play a worm, see if you've got like, if there's X and O and X and O, and then you win this, then if you're the next up and you play a worm here, you've won this. So your worm has won that, and it can't be played on top of because this has been won, so no other troop cards can be played in here. But if you play it regularly and this hasn't already been won, an O can be placed on top. I mean, this is now, what we're in is the situation where you're playing a new game with a friend and they're explaining the rules to you for an hour and a half and you're crying because you don't actually understand any of what they're saying. You just want to play the game because you know you'll understand it as you play it. But if someone's sitting there telling you how to play the game, it's going in one ear, coming out the other, coming in one ear, going out the other, and you don't know what's happening. Well, that's my experience anyway. Well, I'd just like to interrupt to talk about today's sponsor. It's sponsored by Death Fist. Death Fist. Death Fist. He'll fist you to death. He'll punch you in the ass and shit on your chest. I've done the first 8 pages. If you're subscribed to my Patreon, you'll already be aware of this, or you might have seen it mentioned on Instagram somewhere. But I've done the first 8 pages, and now all I've got to do is a front cover, a really decent front cover, and then just some drawing of what I'm thinking of actually doing it something like this, but of like Death Fist. See, like Death Fist from the I'll fucking draw it later. You get it. Death Fist from behind with his poncho, and then like this, it will be on this side, a big muscly Death Fist arm with his poncho like pulled to the side slightly and creases in the thing, and drawn all in ink and stuff. It will look really, really cool. For the back cover, see, the back cover, it's Death Fist's back, and then on the front cover will be some action, pose, punching, whatever. And then I'll fucking take that to the print shop. Hopefully this week I'll be able to get that done. My initial idea is to do, like I said, get it printed all in one long thing and then concertina it up, and it'll be quite a cool fucking thing. Hopefully fit in a comic book bag. But I'm aware getting large format stuff printed can be expensive, even if it's just black and white. So that may be prohibitive. I'll have to see what I can do with that. Otherwise, I'll just get it cheaply, maybe even just photocopy. Just do like a bunch of zines for a couple of quid a piece or whatever. But it's the first 8 pages. It's just fucking look. Hey, we're fucking hanging out in the hot dog line. Let's get some hot dogs for hot dog time. There's a queue of people, Death Fist hanging out. You might not know it's Death Fist at first, but you'll probably figure it out. People enjoying their hot dogs. There's no text. I mean, other than this, there's no like text boxes or anything on this page on the final edition. There's a hot dog man, the hot dog man in hot dog man, hot dog man. And then there's people enjoying their hot dogs, and he's hanging out, and he goes, 1 please, and he goes, yeah, gotcha, fucking fuckface. Got his hot dog, he's chilling out, and he's contemplating the hot dog. He's talking about being in disguise and blending in in the land of the living, in their clothes, enjoying their customs. Chomp. I took a photo of myself eating a hot dog and holding a hot dog. I took reference pictures for this. Well, you wouldn't think it, because it doesn't look good enough to be referenced, but or maybe it does. Maybe it fucking does. Mainly, it was to see how the bread breaks, because I drew a couple of versions of this, but I wasn't sure how to draw the bread coming apart in his mouth. Because I think the first couple I drew, it looked like he was just biting into dough, but I needed it to look so you can kind of see it's breaking apart and crumbing a bit. So I think I did that well. He's enjoying their customs, but he goes, but it's not all holidays and hot dogs, which is kind of a funny line. He's got a job to do, because under this disguise I am Death Fist. I think I threw the thing away, let me find it again. Yeah, here it is. So this would be, so I did a little mini, this is how it will look. And I did lay the pages out and realised 8 pages is quite long, and I need, so you've got, 8 pages plus a front and back cover. The inside covers, I'll just put some drawings. I've got maybe a collage of like rough Death Fist drawings, my website and stuff. And then the front cover and the back cover. Although, I might need to be careful with... I may need to be extra long, because I can only really print on one side. That's a good point, Ewan. Oh, god damn, yeah. It might need to be... I might need to squeeze in another 2 pages. So it will be quite long, so that may put the price up. But fold it all together, and then you can read it like it's a little book. So page 1... you get a cool Death Fist cover, then you open it up, and the first thing you see is this guy. That's quite funny. And then you turn the page, and how it works is you want the right-hand side, because that's where you're looking, to be the reveal page. That tends to be how the best comic books usually work. So then the next spread is this. So as you open it up, you get the reveal of Death Fist right here. And then you read, he's Death Fist. So that's a really decent reveal page. I feel like that's quite good. So you front cover, and then page 1, and then the reveal on page 3 of Death Fist. And then page 4. So I've gone through these 4 pages before, I think. So, but this is all brand new. The Grim Reaper does his job, takes people to the afterlife, but sometimes people escape. And that's when they send in me, Death Fist, with my Fist of Death. TM. It is trademarked, officially / unofficially. And he tracks down the fugitives running from the afterlife. And he punches them, and punches them, and punches them. I did away with sound effects. I was going to have sound like punch, 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 pinch, punch. But I just didn't fancy it in the end, so I didn't put them in. I'm really happy with this pose. I was struggling with it a little bit initially, but I was really happy with how it came out in the end. Jumping, punching down, this guy falling down into the pits of hell where he belongs, and it says some shit like that here. A couple of demons ready to poke his asshole for eternity. And then he says, so now I wander through the land of the living, waiting for the feeling to arise when my targets are nearby. Until, and then it says here, my fist senses tingle. See, it's like Spidey senses, but it's fist sense. It doesn't make sense, but it is funny. Get fudged. It's a fudge shop. Teeny peeny and dinosaur, I guess. And then I used digital duotone dots for this. I dotted all of this and then had this highlighted because this is the guy he's looking for. And so he goes, and there he is. He's got him. He's found him. He's close by. His fist senses have tingled, and he's found his target. This guy who's evaded death. Edward Valentino, I think, is the name that came to mind. I pretty much came up with his look and name on the spot as I was drawing this. It seemed to fit what was in my head. Known child killer. See, there's a child and a knife. And then here he's slashing his blood and he's slashing with his knife. And there's all these missing child posters in the background. I don't know if he'd necessarily have those posters in his home or whatever, but I think, it's a good visual thing, if nothing else, isn't it? And he goes, I got him. Oh, yeah, there's a caption saying, it's unknown how he avoided death, but I've got him. And now he's here and he's here and he's like, fuck is that, with a little question mark here. And then there's an exclamation mark where he sees some dark figure looming behind him and he gets spooked and he runs away. And then Deathfist says, they always run. And then he says, and so do I. And he's running, and this is blank because I put to be continued here. I was really happy with this piece. And again, I was happy with the having the single big panel in the middle for all of them. That's a bit more of a regular panel as opposed to just an image, but still pretty happy with it. And then that one, same, really happy. Yeah, so that's cool. I was going to cut there, but then I guess I forgot to say, go on to patreon.com/ewan, and you can see that all together properly with the text and everything. The first 8 pages official 8 pages before they're printed anywhere. You can see them on my Patreon in one long fucking thing. So go there, do that. You fuck. Do you remember when last week we looked at all of the Pick comics? I've been excited to continue looking through these. Did we look through issue 5? I don't remember. I'm not sure we did. But we're going to continue looking through the Pick comics, all of them, every last one of the 20 that were produced. And we're just going to look at them and go, that's a cool drawing. Oh, that's a cool drawing. Yes, we did look through this because it's got the werewolf, and that's a cool werewolf. And it's also a way of getting around having to draw the werewolf's face. Just put it in shadow. It looks cool and badass. The hands, the claws look really fucking cool. I like the torn, ragged clothing coming off of it. The gnogged little teeth and all the drool and shit. I do love his gloopy drool stuff that he draws. But then he does draw the face and it looks really cool. That's a really fucking nice double page splash panel. I don't think I've got any splash panels or double page spreads planned for Deathfist, but I might have to throw 1 or 2 in. I might have a couple planned for something else, but that's a secret, so I'm not going to tell you about that. I might tell people on Patreon, but I'll keep it a secret mostly. But yeah, we looked through that one already. Jesus, get out of here, issue 5, you bastard. Hey, you little bastard, get out of here. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing over here? Oh, shit. This little bastard. He's retarded. Sorry to use that word, but in that accent, it's a good one. You're retarded. Sorry. I've taken too much caffeine. I normally take a lot of caffeine, but I've taken too much. I take far too much caffeine. That's a cool punch. I'm going to steal so many punches. I meant to steal from the very first issue, I think. Oh, I'm fumbling because I can't hold it because I've taken too many caffeine pills. Oh, let's look at some Pick comics. Why do I sound like I'm coming? Oh, because the pit's fucking cool. I fucking love the drawings in these pit comics, man. It's just so fucking good. Yeah, I meant to basically steal this for the scene in page 4, I think. Here. It's quite similar. But instead I just put just lines. It's small as well, you know. What I've done works. I don't need to. But I think I will end up going through and probably taking a bunch of photos of certain pages to copy from, because that's a really cool. Plus, it's the right arm, so I don't even have to flip the image to draw it for it to be Death Fist, because I can just straight up steal that. And fight scenes I've spoken about before, they're always really difficult to choreograph, to really put together a decent and sort of believable fight scene with 2 or more people interacting in a different way and moving and keeping it interesting. And I usually try to, like, panel to panel go like left right if like the person on the left is attacking, then the person on the right attacks, or if they're attacking with their left fist, then their right one in the next panel, rather than like, well, that's the problem with Death Fist, is his main punch arm is his right arm, so every panel is going to be like right arm, right arm, right arm, but then I have to draw it from different angles to make it look interesting and shit, which again I think I've done an okay job with, like up, across, and then round, which I didn't necessarily intend with this page, but I think it kind of works, like up and across and round and then down. Like it's quite a nice flow to it. I think that maybe it looks like that from the outside, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. That's a cool pose. All the muscles in the world. That's cool as well. And that's an awkward as hell angle to draw a body from, because you're drawing the head from like underneath, but like turned upside down, and the body, you know, foreshortening away. It's a difficult one, but you know, Mr. Keown obviously knows what the fuck he's doing, doesn't he? Hey up, Baldy. What, you got cancer or something? He might have, actually. I haven't read this. Timmy Bracken, yes, interesting case. More interesting than you may think. Does he have cancer? Shut up and grab the brat. Oh no, they're stealing the cancer boy. Cancer boy, cancer boy, does whatever a cancer boy. He's got cancer, oh boy. What do we do with cancer boy? Well, not much. He'll be dead in 15 months. That's very insensitive, isn't it? Jesus, that's a real thing that like people deal with. Christ. There's so many good spreads in this. I think maybe part of that is like time saving on Dale Keown's part, because I can imagine some of these pages being a lot more difficult to draw than others, or more time consuming. You know, just the amount of ink that you've got to put down on a page, or even pencil or whatever, the amount of drawing you have to do to create certain pages. Whereas stuff like this, like there are details, but in terms of drawing, if you know what you're doing, you can draw these buildings really quick. They're just big shapes with some smaller shapes. You know, the perspective is sort of more or less there. Put a bit of detail in the pit in the foreground. This is pretty much all in shadow. That's pretty much all in shadow. So that's probably took him about as long as it would take to draw one more detailed single page. But he's got 2 pages of his comic done in that space of time. And this is probably another one where it's just, yeah, big face. Basically just that. He does this quite a few times, and I did rip that quite badly, actually, when I was having my caffeine spasm, which is not cool. But I've got another copy of that one, so that's all right. Not that I really give a shit, but whatever. But yeah, that's a, you know, draw a big face and then draw a little bit, a quick one to do. His lighting is so fucking good. Ah! Throughout, you know, throughout. Obviously, the colorist, you know, plays a big part. I think, I swear, in some of these I saw where it says colours, it says Daeokyeon and Joe Chiodo. I don't know why I said it in the Chinese. Joe Chiodo, whatever his name is. So yeah, I think Daeokyeon has input in the colour, if not doing some of it directly. But yeah, his use of double lighting is so good. Look at that. And that's because that would be fun to draw as well. Like if you draw, you know, doing big bulky shapes and then putting shadow across here feels good to draw and it looks really effective. And then if you get a different coloured lighting, it's so effective. The city lighting coming from above, the moon lighting coming from below, or the opposite to what I just said, coming from below and from above, because I'm stupid in my head. Let's get crunk. I've literally never used the word crunk before in my life. I don't know why I decided to now. That's really cool, but frankly doesn't do the drawings of him justice. But then I guess few things like that do. Fan art, Boban art, whatevs. I should put these in some kind of order, shouldn't I? We go 5 and 6, 7. That's a nice cover. Like, that's quite a cool cover, you know, a nice sort of combat cover. 2 people fighting on the cover of the book. But that's really nice, really dark. The corner box fits in really well with the font and everything, and the lighting of the thing, the claws and the teeth and the shadow and the eye. That's a really nice cover. They're in the Arctic. Oh, someone else is doing the colours. And straight away, the colours look very different. They look a lot more muted. Be another one that was very quick to do. 0 background details. Just some very, very minimal lines on the dust being thrown up. Those were probably really quick pages to get done. So good on him for that, for, you know, figuring out a way to probably get shit done quickly. Obviously, bigger stuff takes longer to draw, but again, if it's what you do, if it's what you've done for your life, then you know how to throw together a drawing, big or small, in a short space of time. And still with the double lighting, used very, very effectively. And that's something I realised quite quickly with Gun Viking. Maybe mine, the way I paint it, is too sort of saturated and bright. But you throw a light blue underglow when he's standing in the snow, it's very effective because the light reflects off the snow and it's bluish. So it gives like a bluish hue, glow kind of thing to underneath parts of him. If you look at Gun Viking, there's a lot of that in there. Like I say, I think mine's too blue, whereas this is good because it looks a bit more muted. But it's quite bright here, so it's fucking... And again, I haven't stolen it from here because I didn't even know these existed at the time I made Gun Viking. The claws coming out, alone assassin. Chunk, chunk, chunk. Climbing up an iceberg with his claws. It's pretty fucking cool, man. Oh no, there's the cancer baby encased in ice. And Jack? Oh? Jack Smithers? Doesn't he love Mr. Burns? They're all wailing on him. It is an honour to meet you, son of Zoivod. Creed, you're a long way from home, and you are a short way to being dead. Where is the Earth Boy? The boy is no concern of yours now. Crack, paff, wad, biff, bram, wham, whap, wham, wad, crack, thump, bash, bam, bam, cruff, wad, crack, bash, thump. They're all just fucking laying into him. That would be like a Looney Tunes cloud of dust with feet and hands flying out of it. That's quite a funny scene. I think I wanted to put something like that into Gun Viking, but just never got around to it. I love the blasts of colour when you've got stuff like this from like a plasma gun or whatever. Like it's colour, but then blam, green as the fucking thing. And then I think I saw the red rage like in Gun Viking. But man, that light there is so fucking effective. That glow, the pit in red looks fucking cool. It just looks so fucking gnarly. The razor sharp shiny claws. But then this like harsh white lighting with a little bit of blue fading there. So effective in like building the structure of that face. That's a really, really fucking nice panel. God damn it. And then so that's quite funny. They're all beating on him, beating the tar out of him, I guess, in a way. Shooting him and this and that, and then he goes, you fuckers messed with the wrong goddamn giant alien monster. Starts tearing them to fucking pieces. Great poses as well. Definitely going to steal some of them. That's a good punch pose. That's a good like action pose, a good jump. See if this is Death Fist. If I flip this over and that's his right arm smashing down. That's a good one to use. That's really fucking cool. Now, where is Timmy? Timmy! All the goop, all the green alien blood and the red whatever blood. A really cool like pose, a camera angle from above with the pose and the thing, and the blood coming out of his chest, all over his hands. That's really fucking cool. There's a lot of that in this. Prepare my ship. I have a family matter to attend to. Oh, my brother works fast as this pit's brother. See, you realise it all comes together. It's all about... It's like Fast and Furious. It's all about family. Issue 8. I probably will be looking at this for the next few weeks, so strap in, fuck faces. Or maybe afterwards I can like clip these bits out and have one long video of me looking at Pit comics. Would that be interesting? I don't care, I'll do it anyway. That's quite a cool cover, especially having seen this guy very briefly in the end of the last issue. To see him on the front cover, knowing he's showing up again. What? Dale Keown, creator, pencils, ink, story. Cool. Brian Houghton, script. So Dale Keown comes up with the basis of the story. Brian Houghton actually types it into a script with dialogue and such, I assume. Joe Chiodo on colours. All of these people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, computer colours. What? 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 What's the difference between colours and computer colours? And why does it take 9 people to... I'm not sure I understand. I might need to send some strongly worded emails to figure out what the fuck's going on there. Timmy! I'm going to stop doing that now. I won't do that anymore. Whenever they mention Timmy, I won't do the South Park Timmy voice. Roth. Is that the guy's name? Oh, look, it's like Pit, but bold. What, has he got cancer or something? See, it's a callback to the colours on that, man. Maybe that's why it took 9 people, because look how good the colouring is. Like the little highlights on the muscles is cool, and then the switch, the double lighting, the underlighting, it's a real glow as well, with the because it's like red, but then orange, but then into yellow, putting that yellow little hot highlight right on the tips there, just on the sharp shiny parts. That's really, really fucking good. That's the sort of thing I'd do with turquoise and pink, that lighting. It's really effective with, what would you call that, like a deep blue purple and a sort of reddish orange. That's really, really cool. Fwah! Turquoise, we love some fucking turquoise. Yeah. The lighting in these comics is frankly phenomenal. Like, I don't know of many other comics that, especially from this time, you know, 90s Image era comics, that have lighting this fucking good. Like, the colours are good, the lighting is good, it's so well done, on top of the incredible drawings. Because, you know, for all of Rob Liefeld's faults, of which there are many, A lot of his comics look cool. Like if you just flip through them, they look cool. There's a lot of like, you know, the pouches and robot arms and big guns and blasts and fight scenes and stuff. They look cool, but then you know you get into them and you realise it's a bunch of drawings. It's cool, whatever. But then you get comics like this where the craft is just so on point. The drawings are fucking phenomenal and immaculate. The colour and lighting perfectly complements the drawings and fits so well, and it's so well done. That's really quite admirable. And for a series that like didn't really go anywhere, you know, it wasn't like Spawn where the creator just carried on doing it forever and ever and ever, or something like that. It had, and maybe it's best. It stayed in its little. It had its moment. 20 issues, some other appearances, and that's that. Call it a day. But you know, Pitt isn't really amongst comics people who know who Pitt is. But in general, if you bring up Pitt, if you say I like comics, and you say I like Pitt, people would be like, what? I don't fucking know what it is. Fucking shut up, you, Jesus. Oh, he got his hair back. He looks like a young me. That's quite funny. Issue 9. Let's see how many we can get through. How long have we been going? You get through at least another one or so. Oh, this is different. Oh, an alien abduction story, is it? High above the world, in the silence of space, the being known as Jerub, child of future light, bade farewell to the Creed hybrid whose body and mind he shared for so long.
I am greatly indebted to you, Pitt. You kept me alive at great risk to yourself and others. You will remain here on Earth. This is your home now. But before I take my leave, there is one more thing I must share with you. The truth.
Oh, this is his fucking backstory. Oh my god. Oh my days, blood. This is fucking Pitt's backstory. Oh man. The fuck you saying, blood? This woman and man got fucking abducted. She got probed in her fucking pussy, yo. And then Zoivod got her pregnant.
And behold, the face of the galaxy's future. The face of Zoivod.
And the police show up and they're like, what the fuck's going on here? Is she fucking drunk or something? Get this bitch up off the floor. What's she doing on the ground? Getting all pregnant and shit. Alien baby in my uterus.
Woman of Earth, gaze upon the one who will carry the fruit of your womb to the stars.
Yeah, he's inseminating this fucking lady and the child. It's Pitt. That's how Pitt was born. Pitt was born of immaculate conceit. He's like Jesus. Pitt is like Jesus. Fucking robot head. What's going on? This is a what do they call it? An exposition issue. An issue that's telling the story. Oh shit. Look, he's hitting himself in the face. What are you doing that for? You crazy? Or just... What? See, they're pushing Timmy around. Little boy Timmy, pushing him around. And then he goes, hey, I've got powers. Fuck the lot of yous. Fucking telekinesis hitting himself, throwing him up into the sky. This is justice, Kevbo. He's gonna fucking destroy them all. They started it. They always start it. They hurt me. They hurt everybody, and I laugh about it. They've got to learn their lesson. They've got to... Oh, I think he's saying they've got to die. But then Pitt shows up to stop him. Die. There you go, yeah. Huh? What? I'm back and so yeah, not an issue full of incredible drawings and wow, action-packed stuff, but you learn some shit. Whoa, that's a cool fucking cover. That'd be a cool cover regardless of it being a Pitt comic. But when you know it's a Pitt comic and you know this little boy's, you know, weird little boy. He's got some shit going on, and he's got these fucking big claws, and he's fighting Pitt, but they were like friends, but now he's fucking fighting him. What's going on? A showdown between Timmy and Pitt. There is no here, there is no now, there is only perception. Perception is the product of mind and spirit acting to impose structure upon time and space. Any such structure received by only one entity is merely an opinion. Shared by two or more, it constitutes a version of reality. So they're there in reality, but then in their other fucking sphere of reality, they're having a showdown. And that's the hockey stick from the half issue where he was on the train and he had the hockey stick and he fucking broke it. They're fucking having a proper fight. He's fucking decking him in with a hockey stick. You must control your emotions, Timmy. Ah! There's no need for this. My talons are meant for fighting enemies. That's funny. So are mine. He's grown talons and now he's fighting his enemy, who he sees as his enemy anyway. Fucking put his fucking clawed fist through Pitt's chest. What's going on? Fucking tearing at him and shit. That's cool. Lighting, double lighting. That's really so fucking effective and relatively easy to do. Throw shadow in the middle of a person, double lighting from either side almost automatically. If you get the lines right and you know where to leave gaps of lighting and stuff, it can be so fucking effective. And like I say, kind of easy to do if you sort of know what you're doing. Really, really fucking cool drawing. A bunch of Zoivods. You should be more respectful. Is that any way to speak to your twin brother? Oh my god. See, Timmy and Pitt are not just friends, they're twin brothers. A human and an alien, both with weird alien powers and shit. But is it true? Yes, I didn't know until recently. How can this be? That's impossible. It's true. They're twin brothers. That's something, man. And then this guy is another one of their brothers. And Zoivod is their dad. And some woman's their mum, I guess. Comes out the swamp. There's a dog running away from some guy. The guy's about to shoot the dog. Oh, I'm gonna skin you and feed you to the weasels. The dog is not your possession. Pushes him. Skip, bam! Into a tree. And this panel here first, the dog, arf, and him, arf. That's pretty funny. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Some more kids doing kid shit. There's no room for you here. Not me, the dog. All right, I suppose. Isn't that what happened in John Wick? Where he's like, he goes back to the hotel and they're like, yeah, you can't stay here. And he goes, nah, just let my dog in. And then the guy takes care of his dog. I think that is literally what happens in John Wick. It's not like the point of John Wick, but it's a thing that happens in John Wick. Fan art, fan art, Oh, I thought this was fan art. I was like, holy shit, is that fan art? That's fucking incredible. But no, it's a preview of the forthcoming issue 11. And as it is, see, digital colour is, has its place, I guess. But that looks so much fucking cooler than that. But what do I know? Ooh, what's this? Innocent bubbles. Ooh, we love some innocent bubbles that we can make uninnocent by touching them inappropriately in the back of a taxi on the way home from the club. As if I've ever been to a club. I literally never set foot in a club. I've stood outside the club mocking people who go into the club because I'm better than them, obviously. But it's just a fun, fruity, fizzy little, bordering on healthy. It's innocent. They make smoothies and shit, so they're probably somewhat healthy? Question mark? I don't know. Whatever. It's fizzy and it's fruity and it's tasty. It quenches my thirst. It's the beverage of the week. I'm drawing cards. Imagine that. So I talk of, if I ever, professionally print my game, my card game, I'll do this, do that. I say all that because I'm thinking of actually doing that. I'm thinking of actually, maybe this year, setting up a Kickstarter to fund it, because it will take quite a bit of money, also quite a bit of time, because one of the main reasons I wanted to make that card game, for one thing, just a quick sort of fun card game, 2 people can sit down and play, could take half an hour to an hour. I've played it with my friend Sam, and he really likes it. He even I lent him the cards for a bit, and he scanned them all in, and he put it into this computer game program that exists. It's like a tabletop game where you can play any and every single fucking tabletop game there is, like chess and snakes and ladders, and that's about it. All D&D games, and it's got like 3D representations of miniatures and dice and the whole thing, like all kinds of shit. Sam made this game, OXO, whatever. He made that in this video game program, so it's actually playable as a proper, computer video game. He scanned all the cards. He even made the back of the cards in the video game different cereal box card bits, because he's a fucking genius, and he set up the rules and made it work. I don't know how, but he fucking did it. He's a genius for that. Sam's a whiz with the computers, and I'll always love him for that. But yeah, so he's played it with a few people online or whatever, and they all said they had a lot of fun playing it. Maybe not a lot of fun, but I don't know how much fun you can have basically playing noughts and crosses. But they seem to have enjoyed it, and so that was the point. It's just a quick fun game to just have a stack of cards, pick a card, play a card, pick a card, play a card. You have same things I always say I love about Dungeons and Dragons and those sorts of games is like the maps and the monsters and all of that. So you have map cards and then monster cards and troops cards, and then there's I can't be fucked to find any, but there's double agent cards where you can turn an X into an O or vice versa. You can bring in reinforcements where you play one card, then you search the deck for another card and play that card at the same time. It's this whole thing. It's a fun, interesting, fun game, But one of the primary focuses for me was to have all these cards with really cool artwork on. Obviously, because that's sort of what I do, isn't it? But obviously, I haven't really had the time to sit down and draw, 60 to 100 cards worth of artwork. In between everything else I have to do to survive and make money and all the rest of it. But I'm hoping to. I've always, for the longest time, hoped to be able to make it into a real live game. And I've some friends who've gotten cards printed for various things, and it seems perfectly doable. And I've looked into it very, very briefly in terms of getting cards printed for a game. But I do have ideas. I've got ideas and plans for it in terms of making it a professional game. I need to rework the cards a little bit. I'm still undecided on there's a few details, and so I think for the most part I'd like to have the cards be fully artwork with an insert box with the rules, like the name on the top, a little insert with the rules, and then maybe circles here with X's in if it's an X card, or O's if it's an O card. But then the issue there is, if you've got the cards, I'd like, if I had the time to really sit and design all the cards, I'd like to have them with all the artwork and stuff, but effectively you can see there's a big X within the artwork or a big O within the artwork. Because I think that would make it more clear and almost more visually appealing to play the game with big X's and O's on the cards, rather than a card with a bunch of artwork and little O's or little X's in the corner. But then some cards can be played as X's or O's. So I'm thinking of, you have X's here and O's here, and then you play whichever one this way up, depending on which team you're playing for. So there's a lot of design elements I really need to take into account. And I'm seeing Sam in a couple of months for about a week. We're mostly going to be playing Starfield, because that's coming out. So that will be the bulk of where our time is. In between that and blowing each other into oblivion, our penises, obviously, not with guns, we'll hopefully have some time to sit and, play a few games of Ox, figure out some of the rules and design elements and see sort of what works and what doesn't, as I move forward to hopefully set up a Kickstarter. So I'm thinking in the next sort of month or so, I will be looking into prices, basically, to get an idea of if I'm going to set up a Kickstarter. I need a goal, I need an amount of money to reach, and so I need to figure out how much that's going to be. So look at printing costs and the amount of time. I'd rather not have to, but I do need to probably have some of that money basically be to pay my rent and bills and food while I make the cards, if possible, if I'm able to make enough to do that. As much as I'd love to just do it alongside all my other business ventures and activities, that's not necessarily going to be feasible. So that's, I'll spend the next, I won't spend the next couple of months doing that, but over the next couple of months I do plan to do that, to look into what it might cost to get this game actually made into a game. And then maybe towards the end of the year actually set up a Kickstarter. And then maybe actually get the fucking game made maybe by next year. That'd be really, really fucking cool if I could do that. I mean, for one thing, it would be a fun, cool game just to have made. And I'd love to play it with real cards, with printed artwork and stuff. And also, sadly, it's something that you have to think about. It might be a good little money maker. If like I say, Sam's shown a bunch of people and they seem to like it. If I'm able to, people might actually want to buy it, so it might make some money, and that would be useful too. Though that's not my primary concern. It's something I have to be concerned about, but it's not my main function at this time. I have some ideas though for when you do a Kickstarter, you set different tiers of whatever. So if somebody puts in, £10 for the Kickstarter, they get the card game. They guarantee themselves they'll at least get a copy of the card game, maybe signed or whatever. And then if someone puts in 25 or more pounds, £25, they get a copy of the game and an art print. I was thinking if I can get if there's different different goals. So if I make X amount of money, I can print the game. My plan is to do it all black and white artwork, just called drawings, called ink drawings, really nicely done. I'll do them a lot bigger than this and then shrink them down so I can get more detail and shit in there. But that's, so if I reach my first goal, I'll make the game. I also need to, print the cards, print at least an instruction booklet or sheet that you can fold up and put in there, and a box to carry it all in. If I reach another goal, then I can include a playmat to play the game on, or bigger cards to be the territories that you play on. So that would be cool. And then if I can print those bigger cards, another goal could be, if I make X amount, I can get art prints made. So like art prints of some of the card artwork at that territory card size. Which, how big would that need to be? Get 2, 3. So this would be almost comic book size. Yeah, art prints about that big. So that would be the size of the territory cards. So it would need to be quite a bigger box to house everything in. But, I could work that out. And then art prints at that size. And then, so if you pay in a certain amount, you get the game and an art print. I'm saying all this as if you don't, you get it. I'm also thinking for the basic troop cards, like I say, to have artwork, to have maybe 4 or 5 different pieces of artwork reprinted en masse for the different troop card. Jesus Christ. Let me take another caffeine pill for the next, 5-10 minutes of recording. And that's what I'm doing now. Just some loosey-goose rough ideas of some of the troop cards. And see, because if this is X's, this will also be X's. See, this is like, he's got guns and I don't know, bullets. He was going to have like bullet belts across his chest or whatever. So that's sci-fi, and then this is going to be like a guy in like a knight's armor kind of thing. With a mace or a morning star or whatever you call it. A spike ball. With, like armour. Old school knight's armour. So then you have a sci-fi and a fantasy, and then this would be the O's. Orcs, fantasy orcs, and then this guy is like a robot warrior with a gun arm. So you've got the sci-fi O's as well. So sci-fi and fantasy troops, sci-fi and fantasy troops. They'll all fit together and it will all be nice. Nice and nicey, nice. And I was also thinking, if you pay like, I don't know, £100 or more into the Kickstarter, I'll put your name on a card, like I'll dedicate one of the cards to you. That will be printed like that. So it'll be printed like this with, the artwork, the troops. It will just say troops there because it's a troops card. And then I guess it won't need any text here. But then at the bottom there could be a smaller box that could say for Jeremy. I don't know if I've got any followers called Jeremy, but for Jeremy, for instance. So if you put in that amount of money, you get a card dedicated to you permanently in the game. Which is, that's quite a neat little fucking thing, isn't it? If you fund a Kickstarter and then you play the game and then you're looking in the game and one of the cards is your fucking name on it. That's fucking cool. And then I thought, if you put in like, I don't know, fucking £250 or more to the Kickstarter, maybe I'll make one of the cards look like you. Like you send a portrait of yourself and then, it could be a wizard with your face or and your name, and I could title it like Jeremy the Wizard or, the evil wizard Tim or whatever, Monty Python. So not only is a card dedicated to you, but there's a card with your fucking face and name on it that you can use in the card game. And then I was thinking I can do like, again, if I get enough money, and this is all, if I get enough money to make the game, I'd be surprised. If I get enough money to do extra stuff, I can make extra cards. I can do like a limited run of, I was thinking Gun Viking cards. Like Gun Viking can be a card, like one in every, 10 or 50 sets gets a Gun Viking card. Or I guess if I get enough money to make them, then one card in every set will be a Gun Viking card. So it's completely random in the deck, and you might draw it during a game, you might not. And if you do, it'll be like, place this card in any territory, you win that territory immediately because Gun Viking's the best. And that'll be that. It's not fair, but it's Gun Viking, so that's, fucking whatever. And I'm trying to make it like literally the sort of game I'd like to play, and that's the sort of thing I'd like to have. If I'm playing a game, there is a card that if you draw it, you can just win, and I mean that can potentially win you the whole game, or at very least certainly help you win part of the game. Those kinds of things are fun. And I've played many games, especially with Sam, games where you fuck each other over, which is almost always Sam fucking me over, because it just seems to go that way. We played Zombies. I don't know if you know the board game Zombies. It's a really fun little board game. Played that on I think my 30th birthday, and Sam just fucked me over again and again in that game, and I was just like, cool, thanks Sam, that's really really nice for you to do that on my birthday, cheers. But it's all good fun, isn't it? Because it's games. I have never ever cared about winning and losing in like games, in video games or board games or whatever. They're just fucking fun to play. And so I think it would be great if there's a card that's just like, play this card, you win. I love that shit. It's fucking fun. It's good fun shit, man. So yeah, I'm really sort of enthused about the idea of setting up a Kickstarter, making the game a reality, finally. Hopefully I will be able to spend the time to make the cards, because I want to make it look cool. Just cool drawings and whatever else. Maybe some of them can be like I say, black and white, at least to start with, and then some of them can be paintings, some can be drawings, a whole slew of cool card artwork. And I mean, if I'm able to make enough money, it would probably need to be a lot of money, but if I'm able to get enough money in the Kickstarter, then maybe I can think about making the artwork full colour, But then that's not just... Well, I mean, because then I need to take into account the amount of time it will take to paint, 50, 60, 80 cards. At least this big, if not bigger, depending on what's going on. But also, colour printing costs are always phenomenally higher than black and white printing costs. So that's a whole fucking thing. The ideal would be, I will do a specific design for the back of the cards. It would be cool to have at least some kind of colour on the back, and then all the artwork be black and white. That's how it is in my head, anyway. But that's one of those things that's like, if I can get that done, because that will count as colour printing, so that might just cost a lot. But if it has to be black and white on the front and back of the cards, then so be it, I suppose. But I like it, you'll like it, and if I do the Kickstarter, I'll do what everyone does with Kickstarter, and then make every single Instagram post and whatever else be about the Kickstarter until people are sick of it. And I've had a couple of... I've done a Kickstarter before and a GoFundMe before for making art books, both of which have just about been successful. But those were... especially compared to what I'd need for this, very small amounts of money comparatively. So I don't know, and like I say, those were only just successfully funded. So when it comes to something like this, I just absolutely don't know, how successful it might be. I hope for the best. And all I can do is try. Because I've seen some friends recently have some unsuccessful Kickstarter campaigns for things, which makes me anxious. But I've also seen some friends have some very successful Kickstarter campaigns, for things. So that fills me with confidence. So I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, basically. I'm just hoping for the best. I just want to make a fun game. Oh, and also, if I'm able to make like loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of money, it would be cool to include artwork by other people as well. I mean, for one thing, it would take a little bit of the stress off of me for the amount of work I'd have to do. But I can only do that if I can afford to do that. I'd love to just have loads of artwork from my friends and other artists I admire anyway. But only if I can pay them. I don't want to ask for favours. And then get into like, do you want just money, or are you expecting royalties from sales of the game or whatever else? Like, I need to think about it seriously. But look how cool this artwork is, even just now. Look, badass fucking warriors and troops and shit. Just imagine that, but like, more. I don't know. It'll be cool. It will.